We opened the Bellfield in November 2018. With this new model, we were changing it to there'd be 84 intermediate care beds and there'd be 32 health beds. There was a bigger waiting list for beds. It was at a time of year when there was pressures on acute beds. There wasn't the care packages to support people going back home, and we needed to do something differently. So thanks to Patrick Rafferty, Susan Bishop and Katie Williams, they set up the big room meetings. There was the management team from the Bellfield, there was care management, there was the hospital discharge.
It's too many.
Well, do you know, but everybody brings something different.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know, and recently we've had the third sector as well. They've been coming along, so they'll see, whereas we completely probably focus on yourself as a person, but they'll also understand the impact things can have on your daughter.
Well, of course, yeah.
So they can bring another perspective into.
I mean, I can recognise that as well.
Yeah.
As I said to you, I have tried even in the past month or two to say to her, Jane, I've got to take the weight off you.
Is there somebody new around the table that's looking and saying, well, actually, if we got involved sooner, that would impact later on?
I think one thing too, and we've touched on this morning, I don't know whether I'm unique, but I do think that every effort should be made to keep the patient in the centre position.
Yes. The main thing at that point was the paperwork. The processes were getting in the way of the pathway. So the hospital or somebody in the community would say, we've got this person, it would be ideal for the Bellfield. If we get in there quickly, we can support them to go back home quickly. Because as you say, everybody wants to be at home.
And everyone is different.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
That's right,
yeah.
Yes.
We then, and when we looked at the processes, from the day that somebody was identified to the day that Bellfield got the paperwork could take sometimes 7 to 10 days. And that's 7 to 10 days where somebody's sitting at home not getting the care that they need, or somebody's sitting in an acute bed that doesn't need to be there. We also looked at the frailty at the front door, which NHS Forth Valley were doing, and sometimes people were coming there, they didn't need to be admitted, but they maybe needed a care package, they just needed a little bit more support or confidence to return back home. From going from about a 7 to 10 day admission, we're now, for frailty at the front door, people are getting admitted that day to stop them having a night in the hospital, and then they come here, have the 6 to 8 week assessment, if it takes that long, and then they can go home. For your acute bed, from somebody being identified to coming here, it's under 2 days. And for people in the community, 48 hours. From us having the conversation, us having the bed available.
I proved that it's possible.
You did, yeah.
No, and I think it should be possible for most people.
One of the major successes has been the frailty at the front door. So people who have had a fall at home, have been admitted to hospital, but the hospital check them over, give them a full MOT, and then say, well, actually, you don't need to be admitted into hospital. Previously, before the Bellfield, they'd have had to be admitted because they wouldn't have been able to get a care package in place. So now people that day can come out to the Bellfield. We can start working with them. As I say, we give people a couple of days to settle in, find their feet, get to know the staff, and then we can start looking at what's supporting them to go back home. What we want is for people to be, we say, in the right place at the right time. So that's, if you need to be in hospital, you're in hospital.
Yeah. If
you need to be somewhere slightly more supported, you're here. But if home's the best place for you, that's where you are. We always talk about beds, there's only so many beds. But actually, if you think about all the beds, and it was somebody in the government that told me this, but if you think of all the beds out in people's houses, there's beds for everyone. And it's just us putting in the right support for people to be where they need to be. Yeah. And if that's home, that's home. And the more people that are at home, the better.
Yes. Yes.
And we're going to get you home, Peter.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go home.
Yes.
There's no bones about that.
Janice, that was on the project team, she always described it as a travel lodge. You were happy to stay there, but you didn't want to stay there long term. You know, it was fine for a couple of nights, a week, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and it was homely, but it still wasn't home.
It's also a reinvigoration of the brain. I think I'm getting everything from the Bellfield that I could possibly get at the moment. I really do. I'm not saying that because I'm sitting here. It's been a revelation to me. I had no idea when I came here what I was coming into, what I should or could expect. And I'm on the road to recovery.